All right, so the real question is, have you ever sailed the high seas, go plundered some booty and done all kinds of stuff with your buddies in Sea of Thieves? Because I have yet to do that and have fun, because Sea of Thieves, in my opinion, is just a meh, meh game. Anyways, that's not why we're here. We're here because we're actually talking about a much larger topic than my not having fun in Sea of Thieves. And I thought this was kind of interesting because it goes back into other issues I have with the Xbox console. Hopefully you guys enjoy this video. Don't forget to mash that like button. Just mash it. Comment down below. Let me know what you think on this topic. And subscribe because it really does help out the channel. And it's free. It's free. It helps out and it's free. Anyways, guys, let's get into the topic. Look at the title over there. Sea of Thieves could be releasing for PlayStation and Switch, it's claiming. Now, granted, this isn't from like one of those, Kotaku. It's not from GameSpot. This is actually from Video Game Chronicle, which I heard about them on Facebook. Buddy of mine sent me this article. Thank you, Nick. And I thought this was actually a very interesting topic to actually discuss here on the channel. Microsoft may be planning to bring Rare's pirate game to rival consoles. It's not console, it's consoles with an S. Let's get into it. Sea of Thieves could be released for the PlayStation console and Nintendo Switch, it's been claimed. Last week, Nate the Hate podcast said Microsoft was planning to bring one of its more acclaimed first-party games to competing platforms this year. Okay. Responding to its claims, Giant Bomb's Jeff Grubb said Rare's Sea of Thieves could be set to make the jump to Sony and Nintendo's consoles. Okay. Sea of Thieves, I'll say, I've heard that it says that was one of the, how many times can you fit that in a sentence? Sea of Thieves, I'll say I've heard that was one that might be coming to other platforms, he said on Monday. When I first started hearing the rumors, I was like, this is probably about Sea of Thieves because I've heard about that. There's another that could come to Switch and PlayStation. Which, I mean, genuinely, I don't think it's a bad thing when you have games that people are passionate about that can come to other platforms to allow the player base to expand and, bring in fresh people, fresh eyes to do all kinds of stuff to said game. In his new industry newsletter, GameFile, former Kotaku editor and Axios reporter Steve Talos also said on Monday they've been told by sources that Microsoft has considered bringing Sea of Thieves to PlayStation, possibly for an early 2024 release. Guess what year it is? It's 2024. So we could be looking at Sea of Thieves potentially dropping any day now. Not just today, not just tomorrow, but any day now. The pirate-themed co-op multiplayer game released on the Xbox One and PC in March 2018 when it became the first exclusive from Microsoft to launch on Xbox Game Pass day and date with its retail release. I don't like how this article is written, so this might be the last one for Video Game Chronicles. Microsoft said in July 2020 that Sea of Thieves has been played by over 15 million, cementing its place as the most successful new IP from Xbox this generation. Now, I will throw this out there. If you only release like 5 IPs a generation that are new, it's not that hard to be cemented as the #1 new one. Some fans on social media have also speculated that the unnamed Xbox title reportedly heading to rival platforms could be Tango Gameworks' Hi-Fi Rush, the action game that hit Microsoft consoles this time last year. Grubb didn't rule this one out either. Now, it's funny it says that because I read an article actually yesterday talking about Hi-Fi Rush actually coming to the Nintendo Switch, which I think that would not be a bad console for Hi-Fi Rush to go onto because it's kind of cartoony, it's cel-shaded, it's fast-paced, it's all that stuff. and it's one of those attention grabbing games for younger people. Anyways, I don't know if this is necessarily a sign of change in the global strategy for how they approach Xbox going forward, which I'm going to address here in a minute. He said, it seems like it might be just a case by case thing, and they're like, what's the best thing for Hi-Fi Rush? Well, not just Hi-Fi Rush. You're also looking at what's the best thing for Sea of Thieves. Well, it would be nice to make a little bit more money, and it would be nice to raise that franchise's profile a little bit, because it would know that they really like the Tango's game work at Microsoft, and that they are growing that studio. These things are true and have been told to me. And that came out in the wake of Hi-Fi Rush, because I have yet to play Hi-Fi Rush. Now, I've heard nothing but positive things from Hi-Fi Rush. On top of that, I heard the soundtrack for Hi-Fi Rush is amazing, because it's more of like that fast, beat, fast pace, type of, soundtrack. Sorry, words elude me sometimes, because words are hard. Please forgive me. And then, at the same time, Hi-Fi Rush could have made more money. They would have loved it if the game straight up made more money than it did. We're going to pause right there. The reason why, because of course it says right here, of course it was on Game Pass day one. So the biggest problem I have is you're going to complain about making money, but you're going to put it on Game Pass day one, which I 100% believe is actually a very good thing, because it's highlighting a big game such as Hi-Fi Rush that not a lot of people have even heard about, that may not have been like, you know what, I'm going to pick that game up. With it coming to Xbox Game Pass day one, especially from a startup studio, you had a lot of eyes on said game. So your Xbox guys start playing it. Now, what would have been a really good strategy, even though it is a first-party Xbox game, would be, like they're doing right now, and what they're talking about right now, which is, hey, you created that traction with the Game Pass, now release it to the Nintendo Switch. Much like they did with Cuphead, Because Cuphead actually went and was released over on the Nintendo Switch. Let me go full screen. So there's a couple things I'm going to talk about real quick, and that is issues I've had with Xbox. And with that article releasing, it kind of made me think, and that is, are there any Xbox console exclusives that would bait anybody in to buy an Xbox console? The long short story is no. Because if I want to play an Xbox exclusive game, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to play it on my PC. I have absolutely no reason to go out and buy an Xbox like I do for a PlayStation. Why? Because I have a PC. And then on top of that, if you guys really, really think about it, I think it would be smart if Microsoft moved away from consoles, quit making consoles altogether, and just made games. Like, it doesn't make sense anymore for Microsoft to make the Xbox. They're losing money. Period. End of story. I would not be surprised, because they did say in the lawsuit with the Activision Blizzard thing that they were potentially looking to get out of the market of making consoles. Which, reading this article right here, does not surprise me if they move on from making consoles. They basically become a SEGA, and guess what? They end up just pressing out games instead of making consoles. PlayStation's smart, because if they're wanting studios to make money, then, their first party games they're releasing, and then they don't actually put it on PlayStation Plus until like 2 years later or a year and a half later, because then people like me, people like you, go out, buy said game. They make their money back on said game. And then they're able to make a sequel. They're able to go and focus on a new IP. So, in my opinion, I think reading articles like this now, I'm not sure how factual this could potentially be, but I did read Hi-Fi Rush might be going to the Nintendo Switch. I would not be surprised if Sea of Thieves, with how big of an IP it's became, does make it over to the Sony's PlayStation. Because guess what? Call of Duty's going over there. The Blizzard games are going over there. You're not going to have exclusive Elder Scrolls games. You're not going to have exclusive Fallout games. You're not going to have those games that are exclusive. Why? Because you're leaving too much money on the table. Even a timed exclusive to them would not make sense. So I feel reading an article like this, it's just spelling the end for Microsoft when it comes to making consoles. And that they're going to focus solely on PCs and bringing it over to the PlayStation and whatever the next generation of console is for the Nintendo. Whether it's the Nintendo Switch 2 or whether they call it the Okie Dokie machine. I don't care. Whatever the next generation of Nintendo Switch console is, that's what they're going to focus on. And I don't blame them. There's more money in that than trying to produce consoles. Anyways, you guys, that's just my thoughts on it. I've rambled for way too long. Don't forget, mash that like button, comment down below, and subscribe. It really does help out the channel a lot. Hopefully you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you later. Bye!